Hey, welcome to Filler. I'm Joe.
And I'm Steve.
And this is my sister.
Sherry.
Yay.
Welcome, Sherry.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
This is another special very episode. I'm leaving that in. Because this is an authentic place.
A very Sherry episode.
Very Sherry. An after-school Sherry. Which is true because you work today.
Very true.
But yeah, I think it's a fun one because we're doing more like familial stuff because you and I already have chemistry, Sherry.
I hope we do.
Well, you said you knew me longer than I knew you, and I know Steve longer than you. How is that?
Okay.
But then Sherry and I are going to bond through liking Billy Joel and gang up on you.
Yes.
Goddamn right. Yeah. This is how we do it.
You were always oppositional growing up.
I was.
Other than Bob Ross and Austin Powers, you were very oppositional growing up.
I liked Power Rangers too, and X-Men.
Yeah, but I was growing out of
All right.
Power Rangers.
I was just trying to connect. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Billy Joel today because that is Sherry's filler.
Yes.
And when we invited her on, we asked her if she wanted to do a Billy Joel album, as in the indefinite article A, because there is no the Billy Joel album. I understand that. But she said, can we do a couple Billy Joel albums? To which we obliged.
Yes.
So
Only two.
Only two. So
They're good choices.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sherry, can you tell us about the albums you chose to start it off, and can you just give some context about why Billy and why these albums?
Sure. So, Billy Joel. I don't know exactly how it started, but he's been my go-to guy more than Bruce Springsteen, and I know that you guys have been doing the Bruce Springsteen retrospective that I've been listening to by choice.
Thank you.
Okay. No, because I have no, because I'm not Bruce's biggest fan, but I do like Billy, and I don't know, I like him because of the way that you talk about Bruce and about how he's talking about all this blue collar stuff that he's not connected to anymore. Billy actually is still connected to all that stuff that he sings about and writes about. He has been screwed over by manager after manager, wife after wife, okay?
Helicopter after helicopter.
Motorcycle after motorcycle.
Even spread that to Bruce with the shitty motorcycle.
So when he announced his MSG residency, I think he announced it. He must have announced it in 2013 for 2014. I was so into it. And I was even considering, and that was when Matt Harvey was pitching on the Mets. And I was sort of like joking around with my friends saying like, well, do I get a season ticket plan with the Mets or do I go see Billy Joel once a month at MSG? Like what's the options here? I wound up doing neither, just seeing the Mets and Billy Joel as much as possible. I've seen Billy Joel from pretty much every area of MSG, maybe not the floor, but I've seen him. I think Joey, when we went, you, me, and Mom, we were behind him.
We were,
and that wasn't even so bad, sitting behind him.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, I don't know. It doesn't get old for me. I just, and I'm somebody, I put music on in the background. I enjoy stuff that I already know, so that I don't really have to think about it. I could just put it on in the background and I could just clean, or I can, do errands, whatever I need, or freelance. Especially for freelance, it also times me very well. So that's another part, but not that we have to get into that. But I don't know. It's very familiar, and I enjoyed being asked on because I had these two albums in my mind, Cold Spring Harbor and Glass Houses. Cold Spring Harbor is his first album, and I got into listening to Cold Spring Harbor because when I moved out and I moved into a dorm, Hunter College, my friend made me a mixtape, and one of the songs was from Cold Spring Harbor. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I was like, okay, so now I can listen to Cold Spring Harbor. And she didn't put Moving Out on. Like that's the one that you put on is Moving Out.
Yeah,
and she didn't do that. She put one on from Cold Spring Harbor. And then Glass Houses, I don't know, Glass Houses is just a banger. Like if you're going to tell somebody about this, this is the text of Billy Joel, Cold Spring Harbor. I'm sorry, Glass Houses. That's it.
Every time I saw Glass Houses, like just the title itself, I always thought of Glass Ceilings. And one of my bits that I was going to use for this episode that I'm getting out of the way now so that we could talk about it legitimately was that Billy Joel solved third wave feminism with Glass Ceilings, houses.
Okay.
It was a great joke because you warned us when it was coming. And
I'm taking a victory sip of my
explained the
Spindrift right now.
premise before saying it. It's all the...
I leaned in for that one.
So I really like that you picked these two albums because my Billy Joel knowledge is kind of it's kind of the yin to your yang with Bruce in that like I grew up listening to Billy Joel and I like him a lot, but really only a couple albums. It was really just The Stranger and 52nd Street. So to have his first album here and the album after those two as the ones you picked, it's like, okay, I get to expand my knowledge of him a little bit and also be like, oh, I know that song. That's on this album. Cool. You know?
He has a lot of those songs that sneak up on you. I mean, even when he's performing and he'll give it to the audience and say, "Oh, I'm not going to play any of my singles now." And it's a game he plays because he knows that everything that he plays is a hit, but it's not necessarily a single. And so he'll throw out and he'll be like, "Okay, well, here's Sleeping with the Television On or Vienna." And it's like, "Oh, well, you know, no matter what you choose, you win." You know, so I really...
From all the, what do you say, 12 times you've seen him?
At least, yeah.
From any of those times, have any like certain moments or songs stood out and been like, that was like the greatest thing?
Actually, during his 100th performance at MSG, he performed with Bruce. And they did play Born to Run. And I was like, okay, I see the Bruce. I see it now. I do. And that's not to say that I'm going to go trek all the way to the Meadowlands to see him.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. But it's just hell getting out.
I know. I had to go out to UBS Arena to see him for the last tour.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I talk over people. I'm a New Yorker. I show that I'm like interested.
Yeah.
No. So it was his 100th. Like that was a really good time at MSG, and it was also that was the first concert that everyone immunized. That's the first concert back
wow.
that I went to.
So that's extra
a good
historic.
that
Like, that wasn't even a joke. I was being serious.
Yeah, going into MSG, me and my friend, we have terrible gallows humor, but like walking in, we were like, half these people aren't vaccinated. They have fake cards. they got their cards, you know, forged cards from. We made up this character Shelley from Ronkonkoma.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
from Shelley, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know where Ronkonkoma is?
I do not.
It is Long Island.
Yeah.
It is like
Billy
Long
Joel is
Island.
Long Island.
Yeah.
Long Island,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, not Nassau.
Do you remember what your first show post-COVID vaccine was?
Oh.
Mine was The Strokes. They
That's
did
like another one.
another big New York one. They did a fundraising show for Maya Wiley when she was running for mayor.
Okay.
And then I think she came in third in the primary, lost to Eric Adams. Yay. But it was a great that was a great show, and John Mulaney showed up, and they had just done SNL together, and I didn't know he was going to be there. So he came out wearing the trench coat that Julian Casablancas gave him. It was awesome.
That's cool.
That was during his like we don't talk about it phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was right before that next Netflix special came out. I think it was Baby J. I think so. Yeah, he was like just starting to test out the material for that special at that show. Yeah.
Which, didn't we see that at
We
MSG?
did, and
Yeah.
it was called something else.
It wasn't-
at
yeah, it
MSG.
wasn't-
Yeah, it wasn't Baby J. It
I
was
forget the
something
title.
else.
Maybe editor Joe will put it in here.
Okay.
He probably won't. You said that whenever you go see Billy Joel, it's always a good time because they're sneaky. They're like sneaky
Yeah.
good. I don't know if I agree that they're sneaky good. I think they're just straight up good.
Oh, good.
Which is like maybe not the take you're expecting me to have. I think he writes very strong melodies that no matter what song it is, even the ones on here that I was like, whatever, that's skippable or that's a filler song or it reminds me of something else, they're still like, like there's something there. Like if it's a little bass line or like a guitar lick or his vocal melody, which like more often than not, those were the ones that hooked me were his vocals. So yeah, I can see why all of his songs are hits for everybody, but not necessarily Billboard hits
Okay.
or like charting hits, you know?
Vienna is one of those, isn't it? Kind of like a fan favorite,
It
but wasn't
is, right,
like a
it is.
single.
And I know that we're not covering Vienna, but one of my favorite songs is on Cold Spring Harbor. But I think like my next favorite is Vienna.
Yeah.
I think it's so well written, and you know, I tear up. Like he performs it live, and I tear, like, you know. So in Cold Spring Harbor, there's one song that I'll always tear up, and that's the second one's Vienna. And you know, when you have that reaction, it's just like what else can you call it? But
No. Have you, Steve, ever seen Billy Joel in concert?
I have not. I've considered going to the MSG residence at points.
I saw them twice.
Really?
Once was with Sherry and my mom, which was really good. I think that was for a birthday present for mom. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So that was my gift was literally my presents.
yes,
And the second time I had a former student. You were upset about this.
I was.
Yeah. I had a former student reach out to me very randomly, or I'm sorry, a former student's parent reach out to me very randomly. Mm-hmm. I forget if they like DM'd me on Instagram, shot me an email, and I was just scrolling, texted me, whatever it was. And I think it was December, maybe like a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, it was December.
Where they were like, hey, I got free tickets to a Billy Joel concert because like family was coming in and family's not coming in due to COVID. And they were like, we can't use them because it was for them. It wasn't really for us. We don't want them to go to waste. And we know that you're very big into music. You want them because you're a Greenpoint person and you can come pick them up. And so I told my partner and she was like, I've never seen Billy Joel. Yeah, why not? And I was like, I've seen Billy Joel, but okay. Sure, let's go. But I think his shows are what you would call similar to Bruce shows. Mm-hmm. So I know in our Bruce miniseries that we're talking about that like half the show or half of the appeal of the artist is the live show. Mm-hmm. I think Billy Joel, despite like whatever reservations I have about him, I can see why you're saying that about Bruce, because I have very similar reservations about Billy Joel, and I went a second time and I was like, yeah, this is still fun. Even though like I knew what was coming and I knew like whatever little things, and if I didn't know the songs, it was very fun. Yeah, I hope you get to see him someday.
I would like to.
Yeah, maybe someday he'll like do a performance above the MSG and he could sell that out.
He's gonna be at Citi Field with Sting.
Oh, that's cool.
I was tempted. I was tempted this summer,
That's
but
cool.
yeah, it just didn't work out.
Yeah. Shall we talk about Cold Spring Harbor?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Get into it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start because I wasn't expecting to feel the way I felt. Mm-hmm. I immediately loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I thought it was a beautiful vocal melody. I thought it was a beautiful piano melody.
On She's Got Away.
On She's Got Away, yeah. Yeah, right away. I thought the production was nice. He does the thing that I really like, that I like encourage in the bands that I'm in, where it's like I don't think we should resolve every song. Not every song should land on the key chord. So if you're playing in G, let's end on a G, and it feels all nice and good. This felt like just a tad off at the ending, which I loved. Yeah, I had no notes about She's Got Away. I was immediately like, yeah, all right, I'm down.
I had heard this before, and I don't think I've ever listened to the whole thing. And a couple things really stood out to me. One was that it's weird but really cool how the instruments and background vocals like come in and out, which is usually something that I think like if you add something in and then take it out, it feels like it's missing afterwards. But he uses it so well to like kind of pepper things in and make it so it's not just listening to a guy in a piano the whole time. It's not boring. It's not like monotonous. There's just enough flair here and there to keep it interesting. And very Paul McCartney. Like I had never compared Billy Joel to Paul McCartney until this album, and it comes up a lot, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I have mixed feelings about Paul McCartney, but what I do like about Paul McCartney is his first solo album, which is literally just love songs to Linda. And that's how I feel about She's Got Away, is that this is Billy kind of like, following Paul McCartney's you know, the way that he did his first solo album. This is the way I'm going to do my first solo album. Billy had been in one band that kind of went nowhere. He was in a metal duo called Attila that I've never listened to, by the way. I'm just
going to listen to that.
I'm just saying.
That's crazy because there is a metalcore band called Attila from like 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So anyway, but like I feel like this was not only was Cold Spring Harbor like Billy's last stand. Like he's like I have to make it on this album. But I also feel like as you go through the album, he also like tries so many different types of music. And just so people know, I have no formal music education, so I'm just going based on the way that things feel. No, but I can't really talk about like melodies or when he hits this note or that, you know, like I can't really speak to that. I can only speak to the way that his songs make me feel. And his songs on Cold Spring Harbor make me, some of his songs, the lyrics just strike me so hard. And I'm like, I feel that, yes. And I even say like sometimes the music is just so strong, and sometimes the lyrics are just so strong, and I call them spite songs. And I'm like, if he wrote it like, so She's Got Away is a love song, you know, at like Paul McCartney, okay, fine. But when he gives you a spite song, man, he gives you a spite, and that just makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very good at anger.
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm going to talk more about that on Glass Houses because I don't think I remember or noticed it as much on Cold Spring Harbor.
That's what surprised me going into this album because I was like, like 2 love songs in a row with You Can Make Me Free. Like I wasn't expecting that at all. I was kind of waiting for some snark or pissiness or attitude but this is pretty straightforward love songs and like thoughtful contemplative stuff like all the way through, and that really surprised me.
And see, you brought up Paul McCartney on the first song, which I see it, and you're like kind of tarnishing my love for She's Got Away, because I am less mixed on Paul McCartney. I'm more anti Paul McCartney. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about him, like something in the way he moves. I don't like him. Like I don't know. But I heard the Paul McCartney so much more on You Can Make Me Free. There is this guitar tone, and it like reminds me of the Beatles so much. I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh yeah.
It's just like very tight. It's very compressed, I guess. And Billy Joel does like the yeahs on it, and I'm like, like you're pulling it up too hard, and like. When I wrote that in the notes, I said, this sounds like Paul McCartney, derogatory. Like, this is not a compliment. And the way the first one, I would say, okay, that's complimentary.
I guess I wasn't thinking about it until I really thought, oh, this was 1971. Like, the Beatles just broke up. They just started doing their solo stuff. This makes sense that the influence would loom so large. I really like Paul McCartney. I'd say more mixed overall, especially with his solo stuff. He's not my favorite Beatle, but...
Who's your favorite Beatle? There is a right answer.
Yeah, there is.
I know there's a right answer, and the right answer is George.
It is the right answer.
But my feelings change. Paul, like, when he hits, he really hits, and when he doesn't, he really doesn't. I was kind of intrigued to see, like, kind of the formation of who Billy is with this by starting with that point of Paul McCartney and really, like, jumping onto the albums I know later to, like, form his own voice. I think that's cool.
Do you have any thoughts on You Can Make Me Free?
No, I just called it skippable.
Skippable?
Like
Yeah.
Again, like speaking to the truthiness of things. Like when I suggested Cold Spring Harbor, it's specifically because of 2 songs on it. And then, I mean, I knew, the next one coming up is Everybody Loves You Now, I knew that this one was on Cold Spring Harbor, but he also released it as a separate single from, I think it's called like Songs in the Attic. It was a live album or something was unreleased or something like that. So that's how he released Everybody Loves You Now. He didn't release this version of Everybody Loves You Now. But no, I mean, so I was, again, like, I knew that there were 2 very strong songs on this album, which is why I wanted to bring it. But no, You Can Make Me Free? Not really.
I liked Everybody Loves You Now.
I love
piano
it.
trills are
I love
crazy.
it.
I thought it was great, yeah.
It's like frenetic and tight at the same time.
Yeah.
Is this about him like predicting his future as a megastar? Is that what it's about? Is that
That's what it sounded
at?
like to me.
So I read that comment and I was like, oh, okay. But again, like the way that I feel it is that every time I date someone and inevitably we break up, and there's always a breakup song to that relationship. And this is a breakup song to a platonic relationship and it's kind of difficult for me to make friends. And I thought she was so cool and she came with all these like other cool people and they were so nice to me. And I really thought like she was going to stick with me thick and thin, and she didn't. There's this one line, you can walk away from your mistakes, you can turn your back on what you do. And it was sort of like, oh, you're given that grace, but I'm not. And like that's again like who knows what he was writing about, but I was like, that's how I interpreted it, and that's
Right.
why I like that song so much.
Is this one of the two songs that stand out to you?
No, it was no.
That's so nice that
The
this is that meaningful.
the other two, right? Yeah, the other two songs are on the B side.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, knowing that this song was on the album and that I love it, I was like, no, like it has to. We have to talk about Cold Spring Harbor. Just
So with your listening to this and like it kind of being like a breakup song for you, when you came to it, does it hit hard or does it feel good? Like how did you feel? Was it cathartic to listen to again?
it's nice to know that like I went through something. Somebody hurt me. And I went through that, and somebody hurt him, and he went through that, and he can put it into words in ways that I can't. And just, knowing that, and knowing that when I'm PO'd or I need to like vent or, I could just put him on, and that just takes it away.
Nice.
Yeah.
You are making me into a Billy Joel fan vis-a-vis your feelings about him. We can go through the songs if you want to. I had some silly notes about some of them that stood out to me.
I said Why Judy Why was like, if She's Got a Ways, Let It Be, then this is Blackbird.
Yeah, I wrote this was Blackbird, except it was Billy Joel playing guitar instead of Paul because it's way simpler.
My comment on Why Judy Why is he'll never be this intimate with an acoustic guitar again.
Oh, maybe that's a good thing.
I don't think Why Judy Why. He's got these songs that in his mind he's perfected, but he's still trying to figure out who he is as an artist. I don't think he's a Judy. I think he's got to come back.
He's more of a why. I think that's interesting that you're saying he's still figuring himself out. I know he's very young on the album. I think he's like 22 or 21 or something.
Oh my God.
When he puts it out. But you said that this is like his last ditch effort.
Yeah.
Right before he was going to give it up.
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't know, that's like weird. I find that to be a weird place to be because it does make me think of Bruce, not necessarily like in the last ditch effort way, but in the way that I have to stake it out on my own to go and be the artist, and you're going to come across as arrogant and like bigger than life and all those things. And when he finally does it, it kind of fits, which I thought was a fun parallel between the two in Steve's and my series and you bringing in Billy Joel. That I was like, oh, I got two arrogant white guys, one from Long Island and one from Jersey, telling me how they're getting through life.
I mean, we're two arrogant white guys with a podcast. Like, what are we?
No. We just have a podcast because I'm in my 30s. That's it. That's the only reason why. There's no arrogance here. You should see the numbers.
When are we moving to Denver, Joe?
I would love to.
Me too.
I loved Falling of the Rain.
How the hell does he play that on the piano and sing at the same time?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That
Yeah.
sounds like
insane.
rain.
Yeah.
Like the
It
keys
does.
sound like rain.
What's that? Who the Rain Over Me?
Yeah.
Like it was very like do. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I high-key hated Turnaround. This is, Steve, we're going to get canceled right now. I thought it was old people shit. Like, and I know that sounds very ageist, but I thought Turnaround was like, I don't know. Nothing, like, I know you say skippable, and I think you say it in a very congenial way, Sherry. Some songs, like, really stick out to me, and, like, I feel, not, offended's not the word, but, like Like, you're wasting my time with this. And Turnaround was one of the ones where I was like, okay, you're better than this because I heard you be better than this. Even when your song might not hit, it doesn't offend me.
I will say I appreciate the brevity of it because, I mean, this is the guy who wrote Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. So, like...
How long is that song? Is that
it's long.
I think it's 7 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's like a multi-part, like...
Okay.
It's Bohemian Rhapsody for Long Islanders.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a good... Yeah. You know, I would have thought that the album kind of feels repetitive, but at least, like, the tempos are changing, and I'd say, like, it has just enough to it to appreciate the consistency as opposed to feeling... like just the same thing the whole time, which I appreciate that. I can't really remember the melody of this.
No, but
also,
it's not that Turnaround is like a go-to song. Like it's not on my list. But listening to it, I can hear later Billy Joel in Turnaround because it sounds a little country. I don't know if he uses slide guitar on the track. Yeah. Thank you. But this is something that he'll use later for Billy the Kid. You know, I was like, all right.
I think it's funny that you said it sounded country to you.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like disco to me, but that might have truly been like just like the 4 on the floor beat that he had. I actually said that if Elton John, disco, Warren Zevon, and Billy Joel were poly and had a baby, it'd be this song. But we could throw country in there too. We can make it a whole huel.
He did not get along with Elton John. They went.
Why not?
They went on this grand tour of two piano artists.
Piano
like,
Man.
No. But it's also like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it's Daffy Duck and Donald Duck, and they're doing the dueling pianos.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So like they were doing like the dual and Elton John couldn't stand him because Billy was still drinking and Elton was sober, and it was this whole but I also don't think that they tried to like switch I'll sing a verse of yours and you can sing a verse of mine. I don't think their voices help either of this. You should have kept them separate.
Yeah, you got to keep them separated. I get that. No, but I understand what you're saying because I'm sitting here thinking of Rocket Man and I'm thinking of Billy Joel singing Rocket Man and I don't want to think that. So I get that. You Look So Good to Me had some organ in it. Yep. I'm glad that the organ stopped.
Did that organ remind you of any later Billy Joel songs? Like, did you start to see another through line to a later thing there?
No.
No.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No, I'm glad. I know.
I guess he agreed with you. No organ.
Yeah,
no more
organ. Yeah, I think there was some organ on Glass Houses that showed up on like a later song at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it comes up and it's in our notes. But there was a part where I was surprised by it, but in a happy way. So the next one, you gotta bring us through that one.
Yeah.
That's yours.
Yeah. So Cold Spring Harbor, this is his last ditch effort. He wants to make his mark. And what kills me is that it was recorded at the wrong speed. So it comes out and he sounds like a chipmunk. And that is not how you want to sound when you put your suicide note into a song. Like, you make your note into lyrics for a song. Yeah, no, so it was so when I was talking earlier about I had moved out of my parents' place, I moved into a dorm and I finally felt free. I was like, oh, this is great. So it was either this song or the last song, and I'm not entirely sure which one, that my friend put on a mix CD for me about like, congratulations, you're out of there. Here you go. But like, I don't know, tomorrow is today. Like, so, oh, man, it just always hits. It just always hits me. And I believe he tried drinking like Windex or something, and obviously it didn't work. And he was like, oh, so yeah.
Wow.
So the lyrics are a suicide note he had already written or was going to leave behind on this album if the album didn't work.
No. He wrote it. So he I'm sorry, I was ambiguous. He wrote this note. He drank whatever he drank. Apparently it wasn't enough to kill somebody, and he survived, which I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
But he took that experience, that really heavy, serious experience, and he made it into a song.
Does he ever discuss, or do you know why he had suicidal ideation?
I mean, I just think, from what I know, he had overbearing parents. I'm sorry. No, I mean, he had overbearing parents. I think both of them actually were classically trained.
Okay.
And so he was being classically trained on the piano, but he was never good enough for his teacher or something like that. Like if you actually listen to him play classical music, he sounds great.
Yeah,
he
The next song.
Yeah. But it was never enough. And I also think like his professional failures of that one, the one band and then Attila, I think it was just getting to be too much. That's as much as I read his biography.
Yeah.
So that's, but it doesn't really touch that much on the biography, other than he did take a suicide note and he made it into a song.
Wow.
That makes me really, like, aside from the baseline level of sadness talking about suicide, that makes me extra sad that he felt like his quote-unquote life was over.
So young.
So young. He's 22 when he does this album. But
he should have been as big as he was growing up. He should have been as big as the Beatles.
I know, yeah, and yeah.
That's that guy in the video, the Billy Joel travel video.
Yes,
like
which
that,
we will link to.
Yes,
we are linking to that
Bob Hess, neighbor Bob Hess,
in the show notes,
was like that. His mom was always, he's going to be bigger than the Beatles. One day. I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot of pressure.
No, I mean, even if you're 4 years old and you're just starting to play piano,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that puts a lot more context to why he felt the way he felt. Steve, what did you think of the song?
I love the song, but I wasn't reading too deeply into it, and I think I was doing something at work while I was listening, and then I suddenly got taken aback by that like weird delivery he does in the middle, that like bluesy thing, and it just kind of made me laugh. And then I went back and looked into it, and I looked at your notes and saw that it was about a suicide note, and I was like, I should listen to that one again. But is there any kind of insight into why he does that type of delivery? Because it does kind of.
I have no clue. It's as jarring to me as it is to everybody here. No, I do not know. And again, it's like he obviously he can play the piano. Obviously he can sing, and when he hits those notes, he's great. And then when he does this, I'm just sort of like, what was that?
I would love to know what his thinking was on that choice, because if he could explain it, it might make me look at it differently, because right now it kind of just stands out like that.
Yeah, I just want to know.
Odd.
Like I was confused too. This would have been one of my favorite songs on the album had it not been for that section of it, because
it honestly might still be.
Wow, good for you.
But even then, I'm still like,
it's just a bewildering choice to do, because everything else is so beautiful around it. Mm-hmm. Why are you going to? And you'd think he'd be smart enough to know this, and I'm sure he is.
This guttural, oh man, going to the river.
Yeah. I wonder,
and the Lord will deliver me.
Is it just not hitting us the same because we're in the 21st century?
Maybe.
And maybe it worked better back then? Maybe you think
that was maybe like a trend?
Maybe, maybe there was more stuff like that around that time. Maybe, I mean, it's closer to the blues era too, so maybe it's evoking more of that feeling, and blues is all sad, really.
Even when you did that, I thought, oh, maybe this is him getting a little spiritual.
Right. Yeah.
So with him having this like ideation about dying and going to heaven, maybe going to hell, and then in this moment, there's this injection of spirituality. See, like us figuring it out together makes me buy it a little more.
The whole going to the river and the Lord will deliver. I was like, that's a baptism right there.
Right, 100%. Which I don't. Maybe I could have bought this weird section being a baptism on a later song than this one, but right now I feel like we should still be. Like pretty
he was
sad.
trying to bring gravitas.
Yeah.
And it just didn't, he didn't know what works for him right now.
Yeah.
But then he figured out what does later.
Yeah, he's still 22.
And maybe it just doesn't hit for us because since then we've had like King Park by La Dispute that
Yeah.
covers like spiritual grappling of death and guilt. So it's a little different world now, I guess.
I don't think on any of these tracks did I write about his lyrics, even though I agree with your previous point. I really love his lyrics. They stand out to me. Not in the way I'm going to keep comparing it to Bruce, because this like whole idea was like a spawning from Bruce, because I found them to be similar, which is why I pitched it to both of you.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, like there's just a vibe that's similar that they share for me. And Bruce's lyrics stand out to me in a storytelling way, which is not to say that Billy Joel is not a good storyteller, because I think he's a great storyteller. But I don't think I could read a Billy Joel story in the way that I'd want to read Bruce Springsteen stories. Whereas like the opposite is true. I like Billy Joel singing stories more than I like most Bruce singing stories, if that makes sense. So like the one line that like really, really stood out to me on Tomorrow Is Today was he goes, "You don't need the love I'm giving, so tomorrow is today." I just thought that was haunting. That was beautiful. I even now, like you're talking about it, like that B section, like going to the river, like I even think that's really nice in the absolute value of our conversation about it. I think just that delivery was just too jarring.
Yeah. It's cool to unpack things like that, though.
Yeah. It's definitely making me appreciate more.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to return to these with this in mind.
So I take it this was one of the two.
I think This Is Tomorrow's Today was and again I wish I still had the CD. I wish I still had the track listing, all this stuff, but it was either Tomorrow Is Today or the last song that she put on the CD. So, but no, when I remember when I was listening to Colt whenever it was that she made me the CD, and then I was like, okay, I'll listen to Cold Spring Harbor. Tomorrow Is Today was one of the songs that I just kept going back. I was like, sometimes you hear, and I don't know what this says about me, but like I'll listen to a song like 20 times and like on repeat and just figure out the lyrics, know the like and feel it. You know, so that was one of the that I kept going back to Tomorrow Is Today, and I kept going back to Got to Begin Again. But I don't want to skip over his next song unless anybody wants to.
I love Nocturne. I was
love
surprised
Nocturne
by it because I wasn't expecting the classical music to pop up on what's like inherently a pop album.
Yeah.
But I was like, this makes sense. I'm with it.
It comes at the right time in the album.
Yeah, a lot. That's like a big thing that a lot of bands and artists do, where they're in their sequencing of albums before they hit you with this is what I want to leave you with. Let's really bring it down low in feeling and vibe.
It was also like a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Because, Tomorrow Is Today is so down, and then Got to Begin Again is the optimistic. Hey, when that bottle of bleach didn't work, time to begin again.
That's funny that you call it a palate cleanser, because I thought it was all part of the same story, the three songs. It felt like it was a trilogy to me. So Tomorrow Is Today is him and his depression, him considering suicide, and then Nocturne is, all right, I'm down, but I'm not out. And like he doesn't, it's an instrumental, correct? Yeah, right. So he doesn't even say anything in it, but you know how he's feeling based on the way he composes it and writes it. And then Got to Begin Again is the other side.
It transitions beautifully into that last song. It's funny that you said that about a trilogy, because I noticed the last two being together, but I didn't really think of the three. But that makes sense now that you're saying it.
For me, it was the lyrics that stood out to me, in the way that he's so depressed and sad and melancholy in Tomorrow Is Today. He's kind of very realistically optimistic. And Got to Begin Again. He goes, so here I am at the end of the road. Where do I go from here? Great way to close an album after you wanted to kill yourself 2 songs ago. But like, aside from being just generally a great way to end the album, that double thematic punch there hits.
Because that's a huge question. When you think you're going to kill yourself, what do you do when it doesn't work? Like, how do you keep living when you weren't planning to? That's crazy. And to bring up something you said about the Elton John thing of how their voices didn't work on each other's songs, I had a note on this song that Billy has such a mastery of his own voice and how to craft melodies that suit it. And I think that's a great mark of an artist, of like knowing what your limitations and strengths are and how to play into it when you're making songs for yourself.
So there's again, I'm not going to get all the music terminology right, but there's there's this one line. I was dreaming of tomorrow, so I sacrificed today, and it sure was a grand waste of time. And the way that he sings it, he just brings you up, and he hits that note on time.
Yep.
And then he brings you, and I think the next lyric is, but in spite of all the ways that it, I just can't get you out of my mind. And I'm sorry that I'm blanking on the lyrics right now, but like, it's just this beautiful, like as we say in English class, it's this beautiful rising action denouement. I mean, and that's what I wish he had on Tomorrow Is Today.
Yeah.
Was I wish he took that same up and down rather than that whole gospel.
Yeah.
That felt more of a tangent.
Right.
Than a part of the same story.
It didn't feel organic to the song. And this last song is just so organic and so beautiful.
Just have another lyric I love. Can I share it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, I gotta begin again, and it's hard. That is such a basic line. Like truly a basic thing to say, I gotta begin again, and it's hard, but it works so well.
And it's basic saying, here I am at the end of the road.
Yep.
Where do I go from here? Like he is the master.
The long and winding road.
Yeah.
He is the master of just simple lyrics, simple, stories.
You're giving me a through line here to reading and writing. And so I'm thinking of Billy Joel as classic rock's Ernest Hemingway. Because Ernest Hemingway is so simple and he's so declarative and so blunt, but it's just
Springsteen is Charles Dickens.
Paid by the word.
No, that's exactly it. Because I'm thinking as you're saying this about the beauty and the simplicity, you compare that to Bruce's first album 2 years later, and he's like mile a minute with the lyrics, trying to impress you. Where this can be like just as hard to just get it down to the simple message,
So Billy writes his song. This I learned from the biography. He writes his songs. The melody comes to him first. The music, the musicality comes to him first. He hates writing lyrics.
Yeah.
That's where he can't. And the only song where he wrote the lyrics first, and then the melody was "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Tomorrow Is Today because it was the suicide.
that's really dark. Oh man.
I mean, he technically did. Okay, quick aside. What do you think of We Didn't Start the Fire?
I like it.
I do too.
But I think also we'll get into this in Glass Houses, but I don't know. We Didn't Start the Fire. I have no problem with it at all. And again, it's something that I can show off to myself, that I know all the lyrics and I know what's coming next. But he does a lot of things in the studio that sound cool when you're listening to the album, but when he plays it live, it's just so contrived.
Oh yeah.
So We Didn't Start the Fire is one of those songs where I'm like, oh, like and he even messes up the lyrics sometimes, which is pretty funny. But no, I think later Billy is so like he knows he can write a hit, and he's just like going through the motions because he's got ex-wives and alimony and and several houses he has to pay taxes on.
It'd be amazing if just in the middle of We Didn't Start the Fire, he's listing like, Russians in Afghanistan and like heavy metal suicide, all these things going on in the world. And then he's just like, my ex-wife.
My wife.
Space Monkey Mafia, second ex-wife.
I think he's up to 4.
Oh my God.
I think he's
Wow.
up to 4.
It's gonna be a Pokemon master.
Oh, and also when
What?
Gotta catch them all.
when I was reading his biography, and he was so kind to all. He's even kind to like managers who screwed him. My goal is to be married to Billy Joel, only because when we get divorced, like he'll give me an apartment.
I was gonna say
like,
you're set.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's all I need. Yeah, I don't care if it's a sham Las Vegas 24-hour wedding. I'm like, I'll take that.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on Cold Spring Harbor before we go to Glass Houses?
Oh, only the comment that you guys made about that he drops the name of the album.
I had said that in my notes.
In a vert, yeah.
Yep.
Like
It was on the third song, I think. Everybody
Yeah.
Loves You Now.
yeah.
He also name dropped the Staten Island Ferry, which don't know how that makes you feel, but he did that on the same song.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
But no, that's, I think I've said this before, and I said it in the note. Yeah, you caught this, that my favorite way to name an album is a lyric from a song on the album, but not the title track. Like, name it after the name of a song.
Yeah.
Or, God forbid, do a self-titled album. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just feel like it's either got to be your definitive album or, like, your first album. Anywhere else is kind of like, So I like that, and I like that it is that's the name of his hometown, right? Is Cold Spring Harbor?
No.
Is that no?
No, he's not from Cold. No.
So where is that, or what is special about that place to him?
I don't think there's anything special about Cold Spring Harbor, to
Oh.
be honest with you.
Isn't that where he took the picture on the...
Well, that's what.
the
Yeah,
album,
that's
right?
no.
That's
There
like-
is. Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. But I don't know what came first, the picture or the album name.
Okay.
But I don't really think. No. He
Oh.
grew. No, he grew up in Hicksville. He
Yeah.
grew up in Hicksville, and he, until very recently, was living in a gated community. I'm not sure what it was called, but when I went on my crazy travel trip, we went right up to the gate, and then we made a U-turn, and that was that's as close as we. Oyster Bay. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
That was
where you-
another parallel to Bruce, because his first album's named after a town he's not actually from.
It's all there.
Yep.
I know you said earlier that he's like kind of doing whatever on this album. Like he explores multiple genres.
Yeah.
Right. I thought he knew his sound right away on it. Like I thought he like came out swinging with it, and he knew what he wanted to do, which was multiple genres. But what connected them all was his voice. And I think he owns that right away, which is why I feel extra bad that he came into this kind of like as his last ditch effort, because it felt very confident for a 22-year-old. Like I got to that Suicidal song and I was like, dude, why are you suicidal? This album's great. Like you're going to go places, but that's like the retrospective of time and whatnot. The second one you wanted to talk about was Glass Houses from
Yes.
1980. I was not excited to talk about this one because I recognized more song titles on it. And the song titles I recognized were songs that I'm not a fan of. And so I put this off literally until like the night before we recorded. And then playing it, I was like, oh, this sounds way better. Like literally sounds better to me. Like it was a joy to listen to than Cold Spring Harbor. Just like the mixing was better, the production was better. Everything just felt good and live and real in a way that Cold Spring Harbor was like, it was fine, nothing special. But why did you choose, or what did you think about Glass Houses in relation to Cold Spring?
It's hard to pick a favorite. If you're a fan of any artist, it's really hard to pick a favorite album, I think. But I don't know. Glass Houses, as I was saying earlier, that he could just write these spite songs. I think Glass Houses is his most adolescent, angry. Glass Houses. The title comes from people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and I was like, man, this is just this whole like angry album, and I'm here for it. And I also like it was this is something that didn't make it into the notes, and I didn't know how, but I think it's in The Hangover too, that the Zach Galifianakis character, who is just so like you can't stand him at all. he's got a poster of glass houses in his apartment. And Todd Phillips fought for that. He was like, no, he's like, this tells us everything we need to know about him. Is he's like, he loves glass
You
houses.
saying that, Zach Galifianakis' character was very angsty in
Yeah,
the movie,
right.
so I get
Yeah.
why you think that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
You see, I was excited for this one because I knew the hits. Like, I knew You May Be Right and It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. So I was excited to see what else was on this one. What do you think, Sherry, that this album does that his other albums before this don't? Like, what did he do between now or between Cold Harbor and this? Piano Man, I think Turnstiles,
52nd Street.
52nd Street, The Stranger.
The Stranger.
All of those have like other hits on them too. Some are like very well celebrated. Why this one?
So I think on The Stranger, I think The Stranger is a lot more like personal, and he's battling demons, and he's also like, that's also where Vienna's from. So he's also like trying to like, get, reconcile with his father and all this stuff. I think Glass Houses is the one where all of his unresolved feelings, he just comes out with it. And I also think there's a couple of songs on here that are just like fun. So maybe he's like, past is past.
Yeah.
And I also think this might be his most commercial.
Okay.
Like he was going for the hits, going for the commercial stuff. I don't know, just every song is just a head bopper. And you're just like, you're going into it.
Yeah, I thought everything was an earworm too, even when I
there
didn't
you go.
like it. Like like I said earlier, I think he's just really good with melodies.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him special. I don't like You May Be Right.
No?
I don't know why I don't like it, or like I'm not able to put it into words. I think he sounds like I guess sarcastic or condescending in a way that just like, I know that's a character or whatever, but it's not a bad song. It's just not for me. Like one of those types of songs. I did like there was like that crashing of glass at the beginning of the album, which I really like when artists are a little on the nose and are a little cheeky with like you saying this is a reference to casting stones.
Yeah.
And so the stones cast because the glass breaks, right?
Right.
And then it just opens up the album of him being angry. I also thought his voice was extremely strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that, like right away, he's singing from his chest in everything, which is so cool to hear for me. Was this an album for you that was like Cold Spring Harbor, where there were a couple songs that stood out, or is this one just where you're like, I love throwing on Glass Houses, and I like just like rolling through it?
I love throwing on Glass Houses. It's more of the latter, but like even songs that I don't think were like hits or singles or anything, like I Don't Want to Be Alone. Like even that like feels like a do. It just
That was the Elvis Costello-y one.
Wait, you thought so too?
Yeah. I thought this was Elvis Costello.
wasn't it
Yeah.
Sleeping with the Television?
That actually kind of
No.
does too.
Yeah.
But no, I
No,
Don't
this
Want to
is
Be
his
Alone.
this is his
the Elvis
most
Costello
new
one, I
wave.
think.
Yeah, this is his most rock or new wave or, whatever you. But I also like, I don't know, like I think my favorite song on the album is Don't Ask Me Why, and it's just so playful, and something that I like about songwriting is when people don't depend on the chorus.
Yeah.
It's when every verse stands on its own.
Yes.
And that's something that I really like about Don't Ask Me Why.
I think it's interesting that you're talking about him not relying on the chorus for this one. So earlier, I think you were talking about Tomorrow's Today, where he hits that high note on time.
Yeah.
So where he's like kind of leading you along. So it's like an ascending melody as he's climbing up the scale.
Yeah, it was Got to Begin Again.
Oh, Got to Begin Again. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So on Got to Begin
Yeah,
Again, he ascends up and then hits that high note on time.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful. On Don't Ask Me Why, he has ascending melodies on the verses. So he's leading you up into the story, and in the chorus, he does the opposite. And he descends. And so he's like playing with you the whole time. So like talking about that rising action and falling action, he's literally doing that with the melodies. So when you said it's like so fun and playful, yeah, it's like in there. It's like baked in from the very, very bottom.
That's so cool that you two were able to like dive into this one, because for me, I just thought it sounded like the theme song from Cheers, and I didn't really have a lot else to get into about it. But, there is such a good variety on this album. I think it's got a little something for everybody. Like I really like You May Be Right, because sometimes that old-timey rock and roll just hits. Even for 1980, this sounds kind of like an old rock song, but I like that. Because, good song's a good song, But then, like, All for Lena, as soon as I heard it start, my brain immediately went, I just died in your arms tonight.
My brain also did that. Like, did you hear that at all in that song or no?
Well, after two of you wrote that, yeah. No, I just listen to the songs for myself, and there's just something about screaming into the ether. I'm doing it awful. That's when you're at his concerts. That's another thing about going to his concerts is everybody is screaming up to 11, all these lyrics. And it's just like this he could be singing anything and it's one person there. It's going to be the most cathartic experience for that one person.
Mm-hmm. I'm imagining him singing a grocery list and someone being like, the eggs.
About It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, that's another classic hit from this album. And, we need more saxophones in rock music these days.
Yes.
I want to see that come back.
I agree.
I don't know why people only think of, again, Bruce for sax in rock and roll. I think it's a perfect instrument for it, and I want to see more of it. And this... Also, okay, this is more of a Joe question. I'm going to take a guess that that's a Fender twin reverb amp.
I don't remember enough to hear it. Why are you guessing that?
I don't know. I was just listening to... Usually I'm not like a gearhead. I don't really know amps or certain models of guitars usually, but something about... Maybe it's because there's surprisingly little piano on this album.
Yeah. I
was listening more to the guitar. Okay. And because I was listening more to the guitar, I was becoming more aware of the what guitar it is and what amp it is. And for some reason I was like, is that a Fender Twin?
This is a bottom heavy album. Mm-hmm. So there's I immediately noticed that off the first song, and it's mixed well. So the bottom, those bass notes, those low notes don't get too muddy. Mm-hmm. When I think Fender Twin Reverb, so this is me asking because I don't like this song, so any ideas about it, they can't really stick for me. Mm-hmm. If it sounded warmer, like the guitar tone, mm-hmm. and it sounded lower or mm-hmm. bass heavy, probably gonna be Fender Twin Reverb.
Okay.
Especially if there's the spring reverb on it. But I really want to look into it because him being such a Beatles head mm-hmm. and such a Paul person, they were a Vox band.
Yeah.
And that first album with that compressed guitar tone, that sounds like a Vox to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much that is on that because now he's definitely into his own because this is 1980 now.
Yeah.
So he's in the middle of his career, or his career is taking off. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's funny that you something stood out to you about the guitar on here because the sax did stand out to me. Mm-hmm. I'm not well attuned to the saxophonists of the 20th century, aside from Clarence Clemens, and so I thought this was Clarence Clemens. And so I did look it up to see because I don't know who else.
Isn't it Liberty DeVito or something like that?
It is, well, I can assure you it is not Clarence Clemens, but I don't remember the guy's name. But the tone of it sounded as soulful as him, which excited me. That's what I heard in it. It sounded like it wasn't just flavor in the song; it was a necessary component of the song.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I just want to say that you commented that Glass Houses is not a piano-heavy album.
Not at first.
And so your comment about what does Billy do with his hands?
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. I saw that you added a note to that, and I didn't get a chance to watch this.
No. So I think it wasn't Reagan. I think it was Billy Joel who tore down the Berlin Wall when he visited. He played a concert in Moscow. It is the most. I mean, it is 80s Miami Vice, coked up. I don't think he did drugs, but he was definitely he had a couple of drinks in him, and he is so manic on that stage. Mm-hmm. But when he performs, you may be right. Or if he performs anything that doesn't involve the piano, he does this really weird hand choreography. So please do check out the video.
I need to watch this then. Yeah.
Yes. So if you're wondering what he does with his hands, he has a hand choreographer. Not really. I'm making that up, but no.
When you said like you were responding to Steve's question about what does he do with his hands, and you brought up the Berlin Wall, I thought you were gonna bring this back to him being like he actually rips it down brick by brick.
Yeah.
No.
To clarify, like I had a note on here. I was like, wait, if there's no piano, what is Billy Joel doing with his hands?
And he's like playing with the microphone stand.
Okay,
and watching him watching him in concert now as an old man trying to fiddle with this microphone. I mean, it's sad, but no.
He doesn't have the same motion, but I was gonna say he does have stage presence. Very strongly when he's not behind the piano. Like he gets up there, he moves it around and whatnot, but he's stiff now.
I've never thought of it. I've never pictured him not behind the piano. So like, my brain wasn't computing like, what does he do if there's no piano? And like my brain just started to short circuit. I was like, what does he do? Does he just stand there? I can't picture Billy Joel just standing and singing.
So do you think of him as a pianist first?
No, I think he very much like Elton John, but Elton John's, I can see him outside of the piano on certain songs, some more later songs, like I'm Still Standing with that music video and stuff. Like I can kind of picture Elton John without a piano. To me, he's like, he and the piano are one, you know?
I see.
Like he's still singing. He's still like, in my mind, he's got his eyes closed and he's like head tilted up, singing and belting into the piano, whether it's a rock song or a ballad or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
That's just how I envision him.
That's how I envisioned Bruce with the guitar, and yet he proved me wrong. Sherry.
Except Bruce is going back and forth between singing with the guitar and doing like James Brown shit on stage.
Yes, the white man doing James Brown shit. I really liked Sleeping with the Television On. To talk about like the latter half of that album, I thought that was pretty novel, like all around from start to beginning. I thought the bridge on that was incredible, which I'm usually not a crazy bridge person unless it's like adding to the song. But I thought it was awesome. This was the song that I was referencing as having the organ on it. I think the organ comes in as like a motif. There's a quick solo and then it drops out. And we were talking, Steve, previously about Bruce, where the organ is like too high or too loud in the mix that it kind of jars you. I thought this was perfectly produced and mixed, that I wasn't attacked by an organ mid-song.
Yeah. It's also got double snare hits on the pre-chorus, which is like always the key to my heart. It's like a cheat code of a catchy song to me. I love that.
So what's the difference between an organ and a synthesizer? Because I was hearing a synthesizer, like, I'm sorry, that's...
No, that's a fair question. I think a synthesizer, you can manipulate the sound on it in different ways. Like you can manipulate the pitch to go higher, for the notes to stop sooner or later, like the decay, you could add reverb to it. I also, when I think synthesizer, and I'm sure like people that are much more keys oriented than me can talk about this much better than I can. When I think synthesizer, I think like an electronic sounding thing. Like I often start to, like that veers into like Casio kind of tone territory for me, and even like more jarring and like square waves and sine waves and all that. It's like rectangular sounding notes, which I can't phrase that any better. Whereas the organ, an organ to me sounds like church, or it sounds like a ball game.
Okay.
And so to me, it's very, very analog. Versus a synthesizer sounds very electric. I don't know, Steve. What do you think?
That's more or less how I would say. I don't know if organs have a different key structure, like the setup of the keyboard is different or something. I should know this because my mom used to play the organ as a kid in church. So I really should know that, but
I feel like they would be similar,
I do think of synthesizer as more like literally synthesizing different sounds, and where piano and organ have more of a natural sound to it, I think.
Sherry, did you like the French song?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
How do you pronounce that? Is it C'était toi? that how you say that?
You got me.
I have a Brooklyn accent, and French is something that escapes me entirely. I do not try at all.
Billy Joel has a Long Island accent, and it didn't stop him from singing in French. I liked Close to the Borderline. I don't think I was expecting it, especially after the French ballad, but he definitely knows how to... He definitely knows how to... That's the upcoming movie from Wes Anderson, The French Ballad. I thought Close to the Borderline was really, really cool, and I keep wanting to say Close to the Borderland, even though I know it's borderline. I actually thought this was another suicide-type song. The reason being... Steve's laughing at me for people not seeing this at home. The reason why I thought that was truly because I was already primed for it on Cold Spring Harbor. So I was like, oh, we're in the last couple songs. He's probably going to kill himself.
Oh, the formula.
Right. Right. And it was just like the good old dystopian doom and gloom on there. But I thought it was very prescient in what he was singing about. I should have written down some lyrics, but he gets really, really angry, and he yells, I think, on this one. I loved it because it was like guttural. I also said that there's a solo on this one that reminded me of the Grateful Dead, which oftentimes when I'm putting in, this reminds me of the Grateful Dead, I'll write derogatory.
Yes.
This one was complimentary because I don't mind Grateful Dead solos as long as they know when to stop. And this one did know when to stop because it was just regular song, not like a 17-minute odyssey.
Yeah, Billy Joel doesn't jam band.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Live, he jam bands. Live,
Really?
when we saw him, he played, I wish I remember the medley because it was beautiful, but it was like a good 10, 12-minute medley. I think it was with Vienna. I think he started Vienna and then he veered in. He was playing Led Zeppelin in the middle of a song.
No. He was doing Led Zeppelin. He does a little. No, it's River of when he sings River of Dreams. He has this Led Zeppelin section that he adds. That again, you guys can speak to the musicality of it. But it's I don't know. It's just not a song that you would think. I feel like he started doing I'm trying to think what's that song with movie with Anna Kendrick, Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
She puts two songs together.
Yeah, the mashup.
Just because
she adds Bulletproof, I think, to I Saw the Sign.
So I think that was just him futzing around and figuring out we can just weave this in and weave this out. And they're two really dissimilar sounding songs, but they sound really cool together.
He makes them work really well because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't say it's Grateful.
Nowhere near it. Yeah, because he there's a structure to it.
Yes. Yes.
What did you guys think of Through the Long Night?
I put in quotes, "You thought I was over trying to be Paul McCartney? Think again, motherfucker." I thought it was a weird note to end on, honestly. But the whole album was pretty varied, so what could you expect,
Yeah.
That's kind of my only thoughts, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, I actually thought that Close to the Borderline was more of a banger. He put it in, almost, it's the penultimate song. And I thought, Borderline might be a throwaway. Borderline's not the throwaway at all.
No.
Through the Long Night, it's just sort of sad.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing the optimism that Cold Spring Harbor ended on. And this is such a fun album. So I'm not really sure why he went this way.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, the album's really, really good.
You know what makes me really sad? That Spindrift still hasn't sponsored us. So, Spindrift, if you're listening, and I know you are, I'm going to start drinking La Croix if you don't sponsor us.
Look at you, Spindrift. You turned him into Billy Joel. He's speaking French now.
Yeah. I mean, we. How'd I do, Sherry? Was that a good one?
I'm keeping that. So what's our final thoughts on these two Billy Joel albums? Where do they land for you? Do you have a preference, one over the other? What do you think?
Well, one is a young person's angry album, and one is a middle-aged angry album. Like even the stuff that he sings about in Close. I'm sorry, bringing back to Close to the Borderline. Like all the stuff he's talking about taxes in there, and but I'm just too old and bored, and I don't want to mess with the system. So I don't know. Two sides of the very same Billy Joel, and I enjoy them both. And again, like, when I want to feel the feels, I put on Cold Spring Harbor. And when I just want to get through my day, I put on Glass Houses.
I can fully see that. Like, I appreciate seeing an artist grow but not change. Like, see somebody, like, I mean, you just said it, that, like, he's still angry and thoughtful in both those albums, but the situations he's in are different. So you see how this same person deals with different things in life. And I love seeing that over an artist's career. So, this just gave me 2 more Billy Joel albums to like. So, yeah. Now the real test here is, what did Joseph think?
I like them. I didn't know that he was such a Paul McCartney stan. So I think that was
I didn't either.
Yeah, that was my biggest surprise to me. I wasn't aware of the mom thing with the bigger than the Beatles pressure that she was putting on him. But I can see how that kind of was ingrained into him in his music. I agree with you, Sherry, about Glass Houses being fun, even though I think that is not Billy Joel.
Was that what Attila sounded like?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he sounds angrier on Glass Houses, and I wonder if that's just because he's yelling. Because I don't think of Cold Spring Harbor as being a young man's angry album or a young person's angry album. He sounds a lot just sadder there to me. So I do want to go back and revisit.
But isn't, we're going to go into therapy speak, isn't depression anger turned inward?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. Yeah. And I know that. And that's like, I knew you were going to say that when you said therapy speak too. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I can see why you say they're both angry albums. I think if I'm going to go back to one, it's probably going to be like the last 3 songs of Cold Spring Harbor. And then I would rather listen to all of the songs I don't want to skip on Glass Houses. But that's mostly like the quote unquote like generic like rockers to me. Like the big hits. Like You May Be Right, and it's only rock and roll. But yeah. Yeah. You definitely turned me on to Billy Joel. So now I am open.
Yeah, it only took 30 years, or...
Well, 32, because that's how long you know me for. Yeah, I would definitely give him a try from here on out to check out other albums.
Hey, you're just saying that because he doesn't release new music.
No, but I actually said that I want him to release new music.
Yeah,
because
you did say that.
He's the music that you were talking about earlier that he writes but doesn't release. Yeah. He made the argument that no one's going to want it because it doesn't sound like commercial Billy Joel. And so me being the contrarian that you both know and love, I want to hear the Billy Joel sounding stuff because I might be into it. Before we get into our recommendations part of the episode, I did want to ask, and this is going to be me, like, this is half a joke for you, Sherry.
Okay.
But I think I'm also serious about it too because it's something I always wanted to do. Do I need to read The Stranger before I listen to The Stranger, like the Albert Camus book?
I never even thought of that.
Anytime I hear The Stranger, which which I think is a great song. Like I'm into the song. I like when it's like a drop in a movie. I think it always works well. But I just like, would that inform my listening to the album? I don't know.
I've never read The Stranger.
You've never, but you do like The Stranger, the album?
I do, yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Steve, is that one of the ones that you were familiar with or no?
Yeah, it was that in 52nd Street.
52nd Street?
The Stranger has scenes from Italian Restaurant and there's more that I can't think of right now. I'm thinking mostly of 52nd Street because that has like Stiletto and Big Shot and
Stiletto. Like I would like.
Moving Out is on The Stranger, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's the first song.
Yes. Yeah. I was because those are the 2 I'd always hear growing up, so I get their track list confused.
But I just wanted to say like about Stiletto, like that is like piano. Like that is like like it. I don't know. It's very yeah. Like I would prefer him. I don't know why, but every time he performs live, he loves the song Zanzibar.
Yeah,
and I don't get it.
I'm not a fan.
I'm glad you said it. I don't like that song very much either.
And so, like, if he played Stiletto instead of Zanzibar, I'm like.
And Stiletto's got that great saxophone hook, and it's a good like rock song with like piano forward, and like it builds well. Like there's a lot of like dynamics to it.
But The Stranger is moving out. The Stranger, Just the Way You Are, and I think like
that is in my mom's top 5 favorite songs ever.
That's a pretty song.
I think like Just the Way You Are, and She's Got. I think like you hear Just the Way You Are, and She's Got Away.
Yeah.
Italian Restaurant, which is, I'm sorry, that's one of my, I go to the bathroom during that song.
Oh, really?
Because I know nobody's going to the bathroom, so I'm going to the bathroom during that song.
Smart.
Vienna, Only the Good Die Young, She's Always a Woman.
Yeah, oh my God. It's such a good album.
Yeah.
Did you read Albert Camus' The Stranger?
No, my girlfriend keeps telling me to.
Oh, okay. Is she a Billy Joel
Or
fan?
wait, was it The Stranger or No Exit? She likes Billy Joel, yeah.
Is it because she read Albert Camus' The Stranger?
No, but as she's been listening to her...
Joey just loves this circular logic.
Yeah, I won't let it go.
Yeah, and as my girlfriend's been listening to the Bruce series, and then you use that to go into not liking Billy Joel, she's like, man, what the fuck is wrong with it? No Bruce, no Billy.
Okay, so we got some recommendations. Yes? So
Yes.
Sherry's already laughing. She's ready for this, so she's going to start us off.
Okay.
So what's your first recommendation, Sherry?
So this was last night, and I was texting with my friend that we always go see Billy Joel together, and et cetera, et cetera. And I always wanted him to read this book by Anne Rice, and so I got him the book. And then he's like, I'd rather listen to it as an audiobook. So I said, okay, give me that book back and I'll read it. So I don't really read for pleasure, but I was like, I'm going to read this one. So last night I was very proud of myself when I wrote, I don't read for pleasure often, but I recently finished Blood and Gold by Anne Rice, the Billy Joel of novelists.
What's the correlation there? Why?
Because
is she
she's
Billy Joel?
not Stephen
She read
King.
The Stranger.
Yes, Steve. Oh. I felt good.
No, because she's not Stephen King, and Stephen King is obviously the Bruce Springsteen of novelists.
Ah, okay. I like that
yes,
connection
that's
there.
how. I'm sorry.
Bruce Springsteen has never done cocaine in his life.
But he should have an editor.
Yes. Okay, that they have in common, yes.
But anyway, no, I recommend. So this is. I read most of her novels when I was in high school, so it's been 20 years since I've read any of it, and I was like, I'll read Blood and Gold again. So I enjoyed it. Again, is she a great novelist? No, because it sort of just fizzles out at the end, which most of her books do. But I'm glad I read it again.
Did she do Interview with a Vampire?
Yes.
Was that her? Okay, yeah.
Is Blood and Gold the start of a series? Is it a standalone?
No, Blood and Gold is a standalone. So Blood and Gold is about Marius, who is from the Roman Empire. And he also, I don't want to get too personal, but Marius has the weight of the vampire world on his shoulders because he has to keep the Lord and Lady vampire, like the mother and father vampires. They have to be kept alive so that none of the other vampires, so that they don't go extinct or extinguished.
Oh, it's Phantom Menace rules.
Phantom Menace.
When they blow up the droid control ship and all the battle droids shut off.
Isn't that Clones?
No.
No, it's not Clones. It's Phantom Menace. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I was like, you're gonna like it because it's you like the Roman Empire. This dude's from the Roman Empire, so that's why I reread it.
Cool.
Do we do other recommendations or?
I
do you want
only
me to
have
go
one,
through?
but you do as many as you want.
Oh
Yeah.
no, so no, because I thought about because I had a couple of
Yeah.
things that I'm really digging right now. So, the other thing, so I've been trying to go to. I'm trying to become more independent. let's say, because Joey and I used to go to Nighthawk, I think like once a month.
Yeah.
And we were able to schedule it better. We were able to schedule, like there's no grudge or anything. We were able to schedule it better. And I really miss going to the movies and just having a good time.
Yeah.
I do have to say one of the best dates I had was with Joey when we saw Joker.
Yeah.
And then after Joker, we went to the bar. We had a whole bottle of wine, and all we talked about was Watchmen.
Yeah. And the bartender had a great time with us.
Oh yeah, he was. He was into it too.
Wait, was this the first or second Joker?
The first.
First.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second Joker, we should have been way more drunk. After, we couldn't talk.
So I've been going to Nighthawk. So I've seen the movies Companion, The Monkey, and Novocaine, and I really do have to say, like, I think The Monkey was sublime.
Really?
Everything had a payoff, and it was just like they don't make horror movies like that. Like it was so gory, but it wasn't like flinch, like no, stuff like that. So I really like that.
Of everything that you've texted about like going to see whatever movie is, because I think you also said you saw Companion and Novocaine.
Yes.
And those are both Jack Quaid.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, they're both Jack Quaid.
They're
Yeah,
both Jack Quaid.
And
Novocaine
who
also.
started it in Scream number 5 or 6? I forget which one. Like the first return Scream that
I just know him from The Boys.
He's in one of the recent Screams. I think it was the first one that came back. I don't remember the number. But he was in it, and he was awesome in it, because right away you're like, I know which character you're playing in relation to the original Scream, because the whole thing was very meta and connecting to this person's in that role, that person's in that role, who's playing the killer, and you can kind of figure it out as you go. But he plays his role really, really well. Of the movies that you were talking about and sending, I was most upset not to have been there for The Monkey, because on Reddit, on forums I'm a part of, everyone's always fighting about it, and I still haven't seen it. People are saying, I love it. People are saying, I don't get the hype. I hate it. A lot of people were saying, like, if you go into it being like, this is a live-action cartoon, you can have a great time.
Yes. Yes.
Kind of thing. Like, don't
Like
take itself...
Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of vibe. But it's Osgood Perkins doing it again, right? And he did Long Legs.
Oh, I heard that was good.
And so we saw Long Legs last year, Sherry and I, and when they announced The Monkey, everyone was like, hell yeah, he's doing Stephen King, Match Made in Heaven, and especially doing The Monkey, which is like one of the more famous stories. So I'm still sad that I have not been able to go see that one, especially with you, because I think would have had a really good time.
We would have had a good time. I do have to give a shout out to The Pit. I binge watched the first 12 something episodes, I think like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Oh, is this that ER show?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Noah Wiley, but I've had some conversations with other women about Noah Wiley that I will keep to myself. But it's really, really good. I don't recommend binge watching it. It's really intense, but it's really, really good. And then the last thing that I have to give a shout out to is I'm not really into podcasts, obviously I started listening to you guys and I really enjoy it. But then this other podcast that I listen to, it's about movies. It's called it's also celebrating 10 years of being a podcast, which is great. It's called Blank Check with Griffin and David.
I've heard of this.
And I just love the concept of a director doing so well with one film that they're given a blank check for the rest of them. And sometimes they come out with a good movie, and sometimes check bounces. And just they're not like both of them have such. I mean, it's insane how much they know about movies. And but also their camaraderie and all the inside jokes. Like, I don't feel like I was missing, like, having just started listening to the podcast and there's 10 years worth of listening to, like, you could just slip in and slip out, and it's just so much fun.
Cool.
Nice. I feel like you would like Blank Check, Steve.
Yeah.
Being a movie person, I think you'd get into it.
Yeah, I've heard the name and been like, I should probably check that out. Now I think I will. So
have you seen any good movies? Like, have you seen a Monkey or something like that?
No, I haven't gone to the movies nearly as much as I used to. I've really only got one recommendation, and it's an album. It's the new Deaf Heaven album, Lonely People with Power. This is probably going to make my top 10 favorite things of the year when we wrap up this year with our like year-end roundup episode. It's like basically a mix of all their previous styles put together. So it's got like black metal, thrash metal, shoegaze, and these cool like spoken word parts. And I think it's probably their best album. I mean, it's up there with Sunbather for sure. I know they're not. You've tried to get into them and not really felt it.
Yeah.
I think this has enough of all the different things I like that they do finally put together to sound like this is who they are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that's probably the. Like if this album doesn't work for you, they probably just won't. Or Infinite Granite, because there's not so much screaming and it's really shoegazy. So
That's the one that you recommended me.
yeah,
Yeah, right,
That was
yeah.
like 2021. I think that was
Their
last
last
album
one, yeah.
before this. Are you into metal at all?
No.
I would recommend this album if you like stuff that is harsh, but also you can also kind of chill to it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, how do I say this? Imagine blast beats and shrieking and like something you'd think would be scary to listen to or like intense, but it's all being played underwater while lights are going on in your head.
Yeah.
That's how I describe that.
It's a weird way, but yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to I don't feel old, but I know that there are things happening in my brain and body that I just feel my age sometimes. And it's really hard for me to get into new music. The most the most contemporary artists that I still follow are Jamie Cullum and Sufjan Stevens. And
Okay.
both of them, it's because I got into them in college. And so it's really, like, I knew that when we got into the the current music chat, I knew I was going to be like, they're like, you and Joey, you're both, obviously like you're musicians and you love, like, this is what you do. Like you love listening to new novel music and learning it, and it's just, that's where I show my age. It's just so hard for me to get into stuff that it's not just someone that I'm the voice or something or the melody or yeah.
It's not just you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's actually a genuine phenomenon that people have looked into. That in your late 20s, early 30s is when most people have a genuine fall off with getting into new music. And the whole reason behind it is that your mid 20s is kind of when like your brain's fully developed.
Yeah.
And so because of that, things are not as emotionally hitting for you. You've become that much more like intellectualized and logical and whatnot. You're kind of your brain's done baking,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
So it's much harder for it to like hit you emotionally in that way. Whereas movies and television, it's doubly stimulating. So like you're watching it, you're listening to it. It hits your brain a different way than just listening to music. So that's like a genuine phenomenon that happens. I would even say for myself,
Yeah.
getting into new music, I do it like to force myself to. That's why I write for websites, that it makes me stay on top of the pulse. But there's music that like Joe from college would have loved, and it comes on now and I'm like, oh, another Fifth Wave emo album. Don't need that.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of nothing burgers. So I feel you on it. Yeah.
There's like new pop stuff that I'm just like, I just don't get it. Like the entire concept of hyper pop is just the the whole appeal goes over my head completely.
Sherry, I will send you one hyperpop song if you're not familiar with the genre.
I don't know.
I'll just send it to you, and I'm gonna give you no.
Is it going to be
context.
100 gigs?
Probably, and because that's like the big one. But
Yeah.
I'll send you a song just so you can get a feel for what hyperpop is, and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is not for me. It's not for anyone but like young people.
Yeah.
Which like that's not to like age us in any way, but it's like truly like it's just not for us. You know.
Yeah. Like it's hitting people in that time where it needs to. And
Right.
I've accepted that it won't, but I'll try to keep an open mind for new things going forward, but also not be mad at myself if I have a plateau with that, I guess.
Yeah. So I have to close off. I have 2 graphic novels to recommend.
Okay.
After our last time we did recommendations, I was watching a lot of television and a lot of movies. I like tried to dial that back, and I'm trying to read again and get back into that. So I read a graphic novel by a creator called Tyler Boss. It's called Dead Dog's Bite. It is very David Lynch. And immediately he says, this is going to be David Lynch, like right away. Like there's like red and blacks that remind you of like the Red Room. I think that's what it's called.
The Black Lodge.
Black Lodge, thank you. The Black Lodge in Twin Peaks. You open it and it feels like that. But they're peppermints in his story, not Black Lodge. And I don't want to say if it's going to be supernatural or not, because I think you should both read it. I think you'd both like it. But it's just a small town mystery about someone who goes missing and then their friend trying to find them. And it becomes this whole big conspiracy about the town, the people in the town, and whatnot. And there's personal self-discovery and identity and all that good stuff. But it's David Lynch in the way it looks and the way it feels, but it's also... This is like his Blue Velvet, where there's a sinisterness about it. And on the reverse side of that is this graphic novel called The Pedestrian, which is in my local comic shop. They had so many signs up for it. And it was this guy who wore a skin-tight white suit and goggles, and he would just be walking, like power walking very quickly. Like a superhero whose power is to walk, essentially. Like that's kind of the concept. Which right away kind of gives me David Lynch vibes. Like it's like him messing with the superhero genre, but in the way that Dead Dog's Bite is Blue Velvet in its sinister element, The Pedestrian is more Twin Peaks because is it supernatural? Or is this going in their heads, or is this literally happening to some things? So the guy in the white, the pedestrian, is fighting all the men or all the people, because I don't know, we haven't seen all of them. All of the people who wear black and have red hands on their face. So whereas the pedestrian says walk, they say
my
stop.
God.
And it becomes this huge thing that, the concept sounds dumb, but they take it so seriously that you're like, hell yeah, I'm sold. Like the universe tells me go, but they say stop. Like they're one of the opening scenes in it, just to sell you on it completely if you weren't already. He saves someone by telling them not to cross the street when it says don't walk. Because the person's about to go against the sign, and he holds them back silently, because that's the pedestrian. He's quiet.
Yeah.
And he saves them from the men with the red hand because he said not to walk. It is very, just surface level, and then they just go for the jugular.
You always like the subversive
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I'm weird like that. I don't know why. I don't know. I question it, too. I don't know. But I keep going with it. Well, Sherry, it's been a pleasure. We hope
Thank
you had
for
a good
having
time.
me. Yeah.
And we hope you come back soon for whatever other thing that you might be enjoying.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is my first podcast experience. Thank you.
You hear that, Blink Chuck? She's coming for you. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Filler. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review this episode to help others find it. For more recommendations and exploration of media we love, go to afterschoolspecial.xyz and follow Filler on Blue Sky. See you next time.